Today is July the 22nd. Doesn't the church have hypocrites? Let's find out together as we listen to Jesus' words. We've been looking at the commands of Jesus. The meta command that we are currently looking at is to become like Jesus. Now, at the very beginning of Jesus' ministry in the book of Matthew, he preaches a sermon that talks a lot about character. In Matthew chapter 6, just listen to some of what he says. Watch out. Don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired by others, for you'll lose the reward from your Father in heaven. When you give to someone in need, don't do as the hypocrites do, blowing trumpets in the synagogues and streets to call attention to their acts of charity. I tell you the truth, they've received all the reward they'll ever get. But when you give to someone in need, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Give your gifts in private, and your Father who sees everything will reward you. And when you pray, don't be like the hypocrites. They love to pray publicly on street corners and in the synagogues where everyone can see them. I tell you the truth, that's all the reward they'll ever get. But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, pray to your Father in private. Then your Father, who sees everything, will reward you. Then later in verse 16, when you fast, don't make it obvious like the hypocrites do. They try to look miserable and disabled so people will admire them for their fasting. I tell you the truth, that's the only reward they'll ever get. But when you fast, comb your hair, wash your face, then no one will notice that you are fasting except your Father who knows what you do in private. And your Father who sees everything will reward you. Now Jesus identifies what this passage is about. He says, don't do like the hypocrites do. And 3 times he repeats that. When you give to the needy, don't do like the hypocrites. When you pray, don't do like the hypocrites. When you fast, don't do like the hypocrites. Jesus goes on and he talks about giving. You know, he talks about giving to the needy quite a bit here, but then again, in Luke chapter 6, I see some 8 times in his ministry that he tells people to give to those who are needy. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow. He talks about praying quite a bit. Again, I see some 4 times he commands his disciples to pray. Here's the only time he commands his disciples to fast. But all of these things are described as doing righteousness. We understand hypocrisy, but here's a common dictionary definition of a hypocrite that we would use today. A person who pretends to have virtues, moral or religious beliefs, principles that he or she does not actually possess. Especially a person whose actions belie stated beliefs. Now, at first impression, that's not at all what's going on here. It's not that the religious leaders don't believe they should give alms. It's the pretension of what they're doing. The fact that they're doing it before men. It's not that they don't believe you should pray. It's the fact that they do it publicly to be seen by men. It's not that they don't believe you should fast. It's the fact that they're doing it publicly so that you'll notice. The Greek word hypocrite, outside of the New Testament, is not a negative word at all. In fact, it's a word that is used and is translated as an actor. The word hypocrite means one who puts on a Greek play, an actor. Now, if we look back at what Jesus is saying here, we begin to understand some of what he's really talking about. They are acting in public, portraying a prayer, a faster, a giver. It's not that they don't believe these things are good things. It's that they're doing it to be seen. They're doing it publicly. Maybe a better definition is one who outwardly plays the part of a religious man to perfection, but inwardly is alien to the spirit of true religion. Now that is what Jesus is talking about. And that is why Jesus calls them a hypocrite. Does the church have hypocrites? Absolutely it does. The church does have hypocrites. The church have people who are going through the motions and they don't really portray true devotion to God in what they're doing. So what does Jesus say about them? They've got all the reward they're ever going to get. Jesus challenges us to express true religion. Jesus challenges us to truly do the things that God has called us to do. Not to do them to be seen, but do them because they're the right thing to do. That's the value that he's getting at behind the hypocrisy of the religious leaders of his day. So my question today, why do you do the things that you do? Are you doing them to be seen by others, to be understood as a religious person? Or are you doing them because that is truly the value that you hold? Like, follow, and subscribe to this devotional on whatever platform you use to listen to it. Send your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. Tomorrow, we'll continue talking about giving to the needy and laying up treasures in heaven.